Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taya and this is Papagayu, my Junglecore island. I just got some items and I put them together in a random assortment in this little area just so that I had a rough idea of what I was going to be doing, how I was going to build this volcano out. We're starting in by destroying some of the base terraforming that I had on the back of my island here. All of this terraforming took me so long, so I will spare you all of the details of all of this terraforming, but basically I just took down a lot of the terraforming, but there was some in the back that I left and then I kind of carve out my volcano from there. So let's just skip forward a little bit to the maps and I can show you how I worked with those. So this is the map that I designed using Happy Island Designer, and you can see the volcano is up on the top kind of middle area, and that is generally the shape that I went with, but I turned it slightly in my final version. So this is just my first pass at the terraforming, and then I actually start to define the shape a little bit better and put it into the proper position on my map. And then I'm going in and defining the shape even further, but I want to actually show you on the ground floor what carving out that shape looked like. So I'm going in here and extending out the cliff. I end up extending it on this side a couple of times because I don't quite make it come out far enough. And then I'm going up the hill, and as you can see, I've already marked out with a shovel 4 spaces away from the cliff edge, and that's so that I have enough room for trees and pathing and bushes and decorations and all of that thing around the bottom level of the volcano. And then I'm building up where I want the 3rd level to be. And before I completely enclose the 3rd level, I'm going into the inside of the volcano and marking out where I want the center kind of caldera of the volcano to live. So I'm marking it out with my light dirt path, and I end up actually leaving a light dirt path on the inside, and then I end up going around the outside with stone, but we'll get there. I'm getting ahead of myself, and I'm just marking out. I don't want it to be a perfect circle in here. I just kind of want it to be vaguely circular. And I end up actually making kind of a sunken area in the middle, but that's not until much later. I don't know what I'm doing at this point. I do not know how much work is ahead of me. Poor innocent Taya doesn't know how long she's going to be recording this volcano build yet. So I just wanted to show you how I marked out those areas and how I marked out the internals of the volcano. And let's skip ahead a little bit to where I'm actually carving and separating this volcano out from the rest of my island. Actually, it starts a little bit right now. I didn't even have to go forward. It starts a little bit right now where I'm already trying to like carve it away from the end because there was a lot of terraforming already set up. So I did use that to my advantage in the creation of this. So let's fast forward to the map stage that I showed you previously. So this is the map that I showed you before, and I just had the 2nd level kind of wrapping around there, so I removed it to expose the bottom layer on my map there. So now it's a completely separated mountain on my island. I think it looks super cool, but we need to add in some inclines. Now I add in this first incline, which stays exactly where I've put it, and then a little bit later on we add in another incline to the back, because originally I thought that I wanted you to kind of snake around the volcano and not maybe quite realize that you're on a volcano until you're up at the top looking down into the fiery abyss. But it doesn't really work well to have like a nice photo of it. It doesn't really look aesthetic from that angle. So I end up changing the positioning of this 2nd incline really close to the end here, but this first incline does stay like that. And we're just gonna skip forward to the next day because this one was already in dark and we needed our incline built, and we will start putting down some pathing and getting our lava pattern in there. It's so exciting. I'm just giving you a little run around to see the shape of this beautiful volcano that took me like so many hours to even just terraform. And now we're gonna get into some of the even more long-winded portion of this build, which is the pathing, which I will skip over most of because it's incredibly boring. But this part is interesting. This little volcano area and putting down this lava pattern was so much fun. So I started out with just the light dirt pathing and I rounded off all of my edges, and then I'm going in with the lava. Originally, when I downloaded this path, I didn't realize that they actually made a transparent pixel version of this center panel, and I did actually download it and replaced over the non-transparent pixel version that I had, so it all works really nicely together, and I can put that pathing down on top of the in-game pathing, and it works really seamlessly. So I was super happy when I discovered that. Always go back and double check on the creator code. I'll of course list all of their stuff down below. And I've already made one of my first mistakes with this build. I'll call it a mistake, but really I didn't know what I was doing because I was making a volcano for the first time. Literally on Pinterest, there are 2 inspiration photos that I could find for volcano builds, and I didn't really look at them before. I didn't really look at them. I just glanced at them, but then after I had done a lot of this build, I went back because I really wasn't happy with how it was going. I went back and looked at the reference photo and I realized that they had an extra sunken portion in the very middle. So it actually goes down to the first level on your map. If that is making any sense at all. It's bare down to the bottom ground floor of your island. I don't know how to say things. So I end up actually carving into this and destroying half of my volcano near the end to make it even more sunken. And I think just that extra little bit of sunken down really makes this feel like a fiery furnace, like really deep into the ground, which is super cool. But I mean, generally making this volcano was super fun because I just got a ton of campfires and leaf campfires and just turned them all on fire, and it actually looks like super hot down in there because there's some like distortion that they do with the camera to show that it's like that heat is coming off of the campfires, and it looks like crazy hot down there when you look. There's like some camera distortion and it's super cool. I love the look of it, but it also doesn't feel like incredibly dangerous because it's kind of separated. It's down in a ditch kind of thing. I mean, really right now, there's not much rhyme or reason to the way that I'm placing down either campfires or leaf campfires. I just don't want there to be too many campfires or leaf campfires like side by side like I did there. I changed that entirely and put leaf campfires and different things. So trying to break it up, trying to make it look more natural, kind of make it look like it's flowing. And then I throw some of these tall rocks down there, and let me tell you, those tall garden rocks take like 60 stone to make. That is insane. I grabbed a few from a treasure island, and then I just grabbed a bunch of stone because I was like, I don't know how many of these things I'm gonna make. I could make like 6 with the amount of stone that I grabbed, and I grabbed like so much. It was insane. But yeah, so I made a lot of stone DIYs and a lot of tree branch DIYs, which on this island I don't have regular trees. I have like palm trees and bamboo trees. So I had to also grab tree branches from a treasure island, which feels so wrong to be grabbing tree branches from a treasure island. I think people thought I was crazy when I was grabbing like tree branches and weeds, but I mean, it is what it is. It's pretty funny. Oh, also check this out. There is a balloon coming down, and it was the first sacrifice for the volcano. It just went straight into there, but I thought it was funny. I left that in the edit. Really, as I said before, I'm just placing things down here. I end up adding a second bonfire into the mix. But let's fast forward to when I make my second error on this build. So here we are. I decided to customize some simple panels with this same floor pattern on it, and I thought that it would look like the fire was kind of coming out of the volcano, like it wasn't a volcano that was like erupting, but it does not. And I could not see the forest for the trees on this one. I needed actually my husband to come in and take a look at it, and I was like, what do you think? And he was like, And immediately I knew like this wasn't gonna work out, but it stays in the build for like a really silly amount of time before I actually take it all down. My last ditch effort to make these things work was to put campfires behind because I thought maybe the fire would show, but it doesn't, and I just need to let it go. I need to let my simple panels go, but I'm trying to see what kind of path I want to add all over this mountain because the grass is a little bit too green. It doesn't really look good with the fire pattern over top, the lava pattern over top. And I went with the stone. I just did this quick little comparison to see which one I like, but I decided to go with a stone on the outside because it's just it looks more like a rocky kind of like a mountain area like that. And I go over the entire mountain. So we're just gonna skip forward. So here we have it completed, all of my pathing. And right now I'm going through and clearing away the path where I want to add trees. And of course, wherever I've added the sand path is where I'm going to plant a coconut tree, and wherever I have just stripped it back to grass is going to be a bamboo tree. And I also adjusted some of this water terraforming down here to bring it into a little waterfall that connects to the volcano. I end up going a little bit overboard initially, and I showed my husband and he immediately was like, it doesn't feel like a volcano, there's too many waterfalls coming off of it. So I went back and removed some of these waterfalls, but this is one of the waterfalls that stays in the final version because it's just going off to the side. As I've said many times before, the reason why I wanted to do Junglecore at all is so that I could practice my water terraforming, and I already feel like since I started Papagayo, I'm a lot more comfortable doing water terraforming, which yay, my plan is coming into place. For the sake of time on this volcano build, I am going to cut out the next little bit of water terraforming because all of it ends up getting completely removed in the final version. Let's skip ahead. Now I'm just up on the I'm up on the third level, sorry, and we are just going in and doing the same kind of random-ish tree placement. And that's why especially I wanted to have the 4 tiles of space so that I could place trees and also have enough pathing around, able to add shrubs, able to add some potted plants and that kind of thing to make it feel a little bit more interesting once you got up to these layers. I didn't want to run out of room. So yeah, we're just adding in the sand path for our coconut trees, planting in some bamboo trees, and that is that for the trees on the 3rd level. And I go in and I start working on some more water terraforming that will eventually be destroyed. This waterfall in particular, I spent a lot of time creating, and then I spent even more time fixing it up a little bit later only to get rid of it entirely. So I did leave it in because I think it's very interesting, like if you wanted to do something like this, and I think in other parts of Papagayo I would like to do this, where there's like a little bit of a hop. The villagers can go around the other side of this area, but I mean, eventually I do end up getting rid of it altogether, so it doesn't even matter. And we end up changing as I was saying, the inclines around so that instead of an incline being at the back, it's actually in that little nook that I've carved out. I forgot to talk about that at all. That little area that I've kind of carved out behind the waterfall on the 3rd level, originally I wanted it to be a cave, and I was going to use the stone arches to create like a little cave space. But in the end, that's where the incline ends up being. But for now, it's going back here. But it doesn't give a good impression of like a view when you're viewing the volcano. Like when you come up that incline, you're seeing the back of the volcano, which I really didn't think about. So we end up changing it out. I left that incline on the back half there just for now because I was kind of running out of time to produce this video for you guys. But I am going to adjust that slightly, remove the incline, and then I think I'm just going to make the back half of that, the whole volcano, kind of inaccessible and fill it in with trees and make it just really dense so that you just get the full impact of walking up an incline and seeing this beautiful volcano caldera, and that will be that. So I grabbed some shrubs I think with Junglecore, I've realized that adding a lot of shrubbery and different kinds of shrubs, even ones that are flowering, is really good. It adds that dimension and like lushness, more of an overgrown feeling when you have just like an abundance of shrubbery. So I'm trying to do that a lot more everywhere on Papagayo. So we skip forward a little bit and it's doing that sunshiny rain thing. We actually get a double rainbow a little bit later on, which is pretty cool. And we have some more lava paths going down on this level. I still thought that we could get away with simple panels here, but not for very much longer. I end up getting rid of them pretty soon. And I thought that I wanted to adjust this little pathway coming down from the waterfall, but I'm actually going to skip forward to my whole adjustments with this thing because it takes me forever and I don't even end up keeping this in the final version. So let's skip forward. And I'm just going in and stunting some of the trees that I like at certain heights just to get some variety in there. I think these are 3-day trees. I think they are. So they're only 1 day away from their full height, which I really like. I think that's my favorite stage of tree growth. I also like, of course, the little baby mini ones, but I do leave quite a few full height trees as well. And now it's time for the first rockhead statue to go in place. I absolutely love this item. I had a lot of tricky time placing it or figuring out where I wanted to place it, but it ends up going right over here. And now I think I'm just going to lightning round you through some items that I'm adding on this different levels, rocks and different plants and that kind of stuff. I'm really happy with how some of these little collections of items turned out. I'm adding a lot of fiery items on top of the cliff here to give that lava flow impression. Honestly, leaf campfires, so many pine cones, but I'm so happy with how this turned out. If you've made it this far into the video, I appreciate you so much, and I'm just so grateful to have you as a part of my community on this channel, and I've been really enjoying making these videos for you all. I'm so happy with how this volcano turns out in the end. You don't want to miss the final reveal because a lot changes actually from what I have right here, and I'm just so excited to share it with you. At around this point, it was when I was starting to realize that I wasn't going to be able to get this video out for you on Wednesday, but I'm really happy that I stuck it out and we got it out on Friday, which it's already 11 a.m. on Friday, so I am cutting it pretty close to the wire even still with this video, but I hope you all enjoy. Leave me a like if you haven't already. I really appreciate that so much. It just helps share this video with more people, and I'm really grateful for that. So this is another one of like my little collections. I'm so happy with how this one turned out, especially. I end up putting another lantern there, and it's just so cute. The plants really help out with the jungle island because a lot of the plants that are in-game actually have a jungle vibe to them. After coming from Okanda, where I can pretty much only use the cypress plants, it's really refreshing to be able to use like all of the fun plants again. Mush items, of course, and we pull out the bug models pretty soon too. And just a few more touches on this level. Not a lot changes on this level when we go to the next day, but the main changes are that we remove those simple panels and then we start to remove the water terraforming. Also, I discovered some new pathing options, and I'm integrating some of those new pathing options on the next day as well. So let's skip forward to the next day. This is where I left off on day 1 with the map. So it's coming along pretty well. The very first thing that I had to tackle, which was a direct recommendation from my husband, but it is perfect because I never would have thought to do it on my own, but doing it made such a huge difference to make this feel much more like an arid volcano and less like you're in I mean, it still feels jungly because of the plants, because of the items that we have, but I think the water terraforming was something that I wanted to do on this area and not something that necessarily suited the jungle, if that makes sense. So I'm going in and adding this brand new stone pathway that I found. Absolutely chef's kiss. It has a little bit of like mossy green color on it. And I'm heading down into the volcano again and cleaning up some of these items. I end up cleaning up the trees here as well and the bushes so that I can dig down through all of the levels and carve out the centerpiece of the caldera and make it so that it's got an extra deep section right down the middle there. So I'm probably doing some jump cuts here to just give you a snapshot because this was actually quite a long process to dig down. But when I looked back at my reference photos from Pinterest, they always had this deeper caldera in the middle of the volcano, and it makes a huge difference impact wise on the look of the volcano in the end. So I'm really happy that I took the extra time to tear down all of my work and put it back together so that I could have that really effective looking volcano. And through the wonderful power of editing, snap, it's all back to the way that it was before. So I did go through and add some more of that mossy brick, and then I went and got another stone incline to add into where I was originally planning to have a cave. And I think that the entrance up to this area is a lot more impactful. When you're coming up to view the volcano, you get a much more like dynamic and cool first impression on the volcano now. So I just have a few more finishing touches to add, and let's just skip over some of that and go into the final reveal you've all been waiting for. I've been waiting to show you because I'm super excited. Check it out, my final volcano. I hope you all enjoyed seeing the process of this volcano build. I am super happy with how it turned out, and I hope that you all enjoy the way that it looks as well. Papagayu now has a huge volcano, and I couldn't be happier with it. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everybody!